Yeah, Third String Podcast. You already know. Talking topics, all sorts. Always everything sports. Third String Podcast. Plenty dialogue and banter. Talking all teams. But we always repping for Atlanta. Come join the discussion. You don't want to miss it. Keep it entertaining. All facts, authentic. NBA to NFL. And everything in between. This is Third String Podcast. Welcome to the team. Let's go.
What's up and welcome to the Third String Podcast, everybody. We're back with episode 46. Daryl, who is repping the number today?
Aaron Vaines. This is the Aaron Vaines episode.
Yay. Well, it'll get even better from here.
You know what I'm saying? Does his job. Doesn't do anything.
He does. Just like, a Third String Podcast type of person. Like,
right.
When it's your time, you come in and execute.
You're called up.
Daryl, good sir, as always, what do you have for us today?
Yes, so the biggest news, super excited. The draft is like one of my best moments in football and basketball. I'm a sucker for the draft. So we had the lottery last night.
Yep.
So with the lottery, it was like it came on at 8:30. It came after the Bucks game and right before the Lakers and Blazers game. And we finally get to see, because they moved it up. We finally get to see the draft pick order, because it's hard to kind of do mock drafts because you don't know the order.
Correct.
Our Hawks were in the fourth slot. They had a 12.5% chance of getting the first round pick. And as I said in past podcasts, this is not a year you necessarily, for the Hawks, you necessarily want the first round pick.
Right.
But the funny thing is, when they were announcing who got it, I find myself wanting the first round pick. So,
it's just human nature. You want to be number one. Like, about time we get a number one. Yeah. When was the last time we had a number one pick?
Never had a number one pick.
Exactly. It's about time, but not this year. We can probably go next 2 years. Yeah,
but hopefully we don't, because we're in the playoffs.
Exactly.
But Anthony Edwards, I read an article that he said it was a dream come true to play for the Hawks. And I was just
everybody wants to play for the Hawks, like right now, young guys.
But you know what that would have probably did for the city, just to get the number one pick or number two pick, even to get the number two pick, what it did for the city. So
it would have brought a lot of hype back to the Hawks.
Right. So the draft order, let's just go. It's Minnesota at number one. Golden State
there real quick. How do you feel about that?
Minnesota at number one.
Yeah, in regards to their team.
No, I think Anthony Edwards is the pick for them. I think he'll do well with them.
That's who I was thinking. Yeah.
I thought it was a good pick. I thought it was good, and for where he's gonna go, because it's not gonna be James Wiseman.
But how do you feel about the Timberwolves getting that pick? Like, they're not necessarily an awful team. Like, they'll be good at some point.
Yeah, and they're super young. Yeah. So they had Jared Culver last year, who I was really high on.
Yeah.
Last year in the draft. I think they're putting together a really good team. They got one of the ex-Hawks, Omari Spellman, is on that team. They have Josh Okogie. They have a really good young team. And they also have a pick later in the draft as well. So they have an opportunity to become really good from this draft.
Yeah.
Really. What did you feel about Timberwolves getting it?
It's kind of like you forget about that franchise.
No, I agree. I'm sure Anthony Edwards can wake up and say, I'm going to Minnesota.
Yeah, you forget about it. And then it's like, you remember they do kind of have a little bit of a team. And what I asked you, and what I meant by that is, like, they could come up to be something. I don't know, like soon at some point, get coaching and all that stuff.
They could definitely see. The number 2 pick was interesting.
Now, I'll say my piece on this after you say who it is.
It's the Golden State Warriors. Got the number 2 pick.
So many people were roasting how many games, because they started the season off like 0 and whatever. They were terrible.
Right.
Yeah. And roasting them because all the finals appearances, all the whatever, all the accolades.
Right.
I'm over here like, first of all, I always said that they should have shut down their star players early on.
Yep.
And then they eventually did. People got hurt. People were recovering. It's like, let's not activate them like that. Let's not even play them 100%. Let's not give them full minutes. The ones that did come back, whatever.
Right.
So everybody's laughing, roasting them. I'm like, just wait till next year, because people were saying this too. Some were with me saying that they were going to get a lottery pick and everybody will be healthy next year. Like I was saying, well, guess what? The number 2 pick. Who are they getting?
They're getting James Wiseman, center of Memphis, 7 foot. The one thing they're missing is a center, and that's only if they use this pick. They have the opportunity to trade this pick for an established player. So, if you want to talk about, I don't know who's a player that they can grab that could potentially help them. Because I was like, Bradley Beal maybe, but then you're putting Klay Thompson at the small forward, him at the shooting guard stuff. So it just kind of depends what you want to go. But you know what a team I thought would have been great? New York. If I'm Golden State, I'm calling New York. They have 2 picks in this draft. 2 picks, a future pick, and maybe an asset now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one of their veteran players now.
So you're trading your second pick for what?
No, I'm trading both of them for the second pick. So Golden State's giving the second pick. New York is giving up their 8th and their 27th pick. Also their first next year, and maybe one of their established veterans. If I can get Bobby Portis to opt into his contract, I think a Bobby Portis could really help Golden State. He could play center and power forward, and he can shoot the 3. I think he can help Golden State out a lot. And also Golden State gets all those assets to get players. They want somebody established to win now. But if they do draft there, James Wiseman is probably for them the best pick for them. Because, first of all, they're always weak at center. He can defend. He can hopefully develop into a shot.
Right.
So, and you don't have to call on him to do much.
Yeah.
So I think James Wiseman will be the second pick if Golden State actually drafts.
We'll see. It's going to be soon. It's coming up, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Go on with number 3.
Number 3. Now, this was a shocker. Was the Charlotte Hornets jumped up to number 3. And who do I have them taking? Because you already did my mock draft. LaMelo Ball.
Bro, down the street, man.
Melo Ball is who I have them taking.
Yeah.
They're in a
That's
weird.
Good. I like that though.
They're in a weird because they have Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, who are both point guards who start. I think eventually you're going to move Terry Rozier to the bench. Devontae Graham and LaMelo Ball will be your backcourt. The defense will be terrible. The defense will be terrible, but
they're going to bring a show though back to the city. You know, Cam's not there in Carolina, so you're going to have like a centerpiece, so to speak, for them.
It's going to be his city. It's going to be his city. Who
I can't wait to see that man play though.
No, he's gonna be fun. Number 4 is the Chicago Bulls. I was really hoping they would get the number 1 pick because I wanted LaMelo to go to Chicago.
Yeah. I think that would be nice.
Yes, but I have the Chicago Bulls taking Denny Avdija.
Yeah.
They need help at the small forward position. They also need kind of a second ball handler. He's kind of like a poor man's Luka, kind of.
Yeah.
He's 6'9", so he can play the power forward. He could play different. He could play power forward, small forward, shooting guard. He could play all of an endpoint forward. Yeah. He's not a great shooter, but he could just help out. I think he could help now because Chicago needs to win now because they've been rebuilding for far too long.
For how long? Good 7 years?
Yeah, they yes. And they can't keep holding on to Zach LaVine and not doing anything with him. I agree. Number 5, and I'm going to move to the Hawks, or I can go to 10 if you want me to go. But
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, number 5, I got Obi Toppin. He's going to Cleveland Cavaliers. I have him going there for the simple fact that, first of all, how many guards can they draft?
Bro, still not going to make a difference though at Cleveland. I'm sorry.
No, it's not but I also assume that they're going to trade Kevin Love. Now
they need to at some point. Yeah. If you're going to rebuild, go all in.
Yes. So I assume they're going to trade Kevin Love, which actually, if they can fit the salary in the Golden State, would actually be great. But
that's scary.
Yeah, but Obi Toppin, he basically is John Collins, basically. but he can't. He don't play defense. He can't play defense. So
right.
That's going to be a hindrance for him. Cleveland is still not going to be that great of a team.
They're not going to be good for a long time.
Yep.
If ever again.
So, yep, I have Obi Toppin because I assume that they're going to trade away at some point Kevin Love. Now, here's the Atlanta Hawks get the 6th pick.
Yeah.
I have Killian Hayes, point guard out of France. No, out of Germany, not France, Germany.
And what do you suppose we do with this pick as far as him? Yeah.
I think we need a second ball handler. We've been last year with the podcast, we were claiming that they don't have a backup point guard. They don't have a second ball handler. And I think that really hurt them in the season. When Jeff T got traded there, it stabilized it a little bit more, but now they need a future. I think Jeff T is going to command too much money. And so I don't want to resign.
Shouldn't anymore, but yeah.
Yeah. Killian Hayes is basically he's projected to be a D'Angelo Russell type player. That means.
So is he starting?
No.
So we're about to have 2 draft picks back-to-back years that at the beginning of the season they don't start.
Right. And you're talking about Cam Reddish, right?
Yes.
Yes, but this is the start.
That's pretty unheard of.
This is my start. And this is why the Hawks didn't need the number 1 pick, because our rotation's kind of set. You just need people to supplement. Killian Hayes can play point guard. He's also 6'5", so his shooting is not great. He needs to be a better shooter. But he's a good defender. He's an okay defender, and of course he's a second playmaker. The only other person is Tyrese Halliburton. I would have picked. That's another 6'5", almost basically the same thing. A 6'5" point guard, but he can shoot the 3. He has an ugly shot, but he can shoot the 3, and he's a second ball handler. But the problem is there's nothing flashy about Halliburton. There's
what
nothing
about defense?
He's a way better defender.
I would go that route.
Yeah, I had him
because Trey can't play defense.
He's too small. He can't play any defense.
Score all day, but we need people to play defense, especially with a defensive-minded coach.
Yep, especially Halliburton is shooting like 39% from three-point or something like that. So I think Halliburton is the better fit. If you ask me who I would pick, it would be Halliburton, but I just felt like
what's realistic?
Sexy. Yeah, he's has more of the upside that you're kind of looking for. But yes, my starting lineup, and I'm glad you brought that up because Trae Young is so bad at defense.
Yeah.
I'm taking Herter out of the starting lineup.
Yeah.
I'm putting Reddish in the starting. He's the starting 2 guard because your best perimeter defenders are Reddish and Hunter, and then you got Clint Capella and John Collins.
Okay.
So you have to match Trae Young's bad defense.
That's what I was saying. You have to balance out. Trey's going to get you the points.
Right.
And then all the other people are more well-rounded.
Right.
But that defensive side in this day and age of basketball, that point guard can't be trash at defense.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it in the playoffs. That's the only reason the Bucks are there, other than Giannis, is that they're number 1 in defense.
Right.
So we have to be better on defense. I do think Halliburton is the better pick. I just went with the more sexier one, Killian Hayes.
Yeah, I get you.
Number 7 is the Detroit Pistons. I have Isaac Okoro, the best perimeter defender in the league. I mean, in the draft.
Yeah,
but he shot 29% from 3. He's not a great shooter.
Right.
So but as a splasher, as a defender, he's going to be great. Hopefully, he comes to like a Jimmy Butler type player.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right,
Butler has really come into his own.
All right, my last 3 picks. New York Knicks, man, they're so unlucky,
bro.
They're so unlucky.
You're talking about getting roasted online. Right. Unlucky.
So the New York picks, I picked the boom or bust pick for them, and some people might think this is too high for him, but I think this is who you go for: Cole Anthony from North Carolina.
I like that.
And he wasn't a great shooter, but just like Anthony Edwards,
I liked his game.
Yeah, his team wasn't that great. He had to do a lot.
Yeah,
I think. Like if New York, I always say New York should build through the draft. If you want to try to get a star player, he can potentially be one.
Okay.
Potentially. He can be one. Put him with RJ Barrett, Mitchell Robinson. I think you got a good young team and start building around that instead of trying.
I forgot all about RJ. I forgot all about that. That's sad. But go ahead. Yeah.
When we were very high on RJ Barrett.
It's just the team.
Yeah, right. My last 2 picks, the Washington Wizards get Aaron Naismith, who was crazy from 3-point, and they need 3-point shooting. And
they need a team.
Yeah, they need a team. My last pick is the Phoenix Suns, and that's where Tyrese Halliburton goes to at point guard because they're on the cusp of making the playoffs. They need a stable player.
But that's crazy. Like they should be in the playoffs or the play-in game to make the playoffs.
Right.
And then again, just to reiterate, I hope that play-in game never happens again.
Yeah.
I hope that was just 2020 and that's it.
And
but
just was like in limbo. Like the stats go nowhere from those games.
Yeah, it doesn't make. That's wow. That makes sense because it's literally just like a random game.
Yeah.
Wow, you drop
his own thing.
Bro, you could drop 101, and it means nothing.
It goes nowhere.
Dang.
So yes. So that's my top 10. I have my whole mock draft, but I'm not gonna go through it because we'll
save it for next time.
Yeah, because we're gonna.
And I'll have mine as well.
So I'm very excited about the draft. Of course, the winners, were Minnesota and Golden State, and the loser was New York. New York.
2 years in a row.
I was just like, wow. As soon as I saw them at 8, I was like, wow. But with this draft is very deep.
Yeah.
Like the ceiling isn't that high.
Correct.
Like the only all-stars might be in this draft is probably LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
they're probably the only all-stars. Cole Anthony, I think, might have potential.
But I think the top 2 are definitely the top 2.
Right.
Of this one. And it's still not even like a Zion type of one.
No.
Like last year.
To me, I did my draft on fit. I don't think best player available is the best way to go. Like if you have if you're Cleveland, if you got 2 point guards, why do you need a third? Like it doesn't make any sense. So
just like the Bears and football, Chicago, 11 tight ends. Yeah, man, we need them. That's crazy. Have they made cuts yet?
They should. Yeah, we gotta look at that. But the draft, I'm excited. The draft is in less than 2 months away.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's end of October.
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken. But I'm super excited for the draft.
No, it's gonna be good. I'll definitely have some food and we'll be watching it.
We'll be texting like we did last year.
Yeah. So October 16th, a Friday, the 2020 NBA draft.
I'm so super excited.
Yeah, so less than 2 months. Yep.
So also what's going on is the NBA playoffs. So the playoffs have started since our last podcast. Playoffs have started.
Best thing to be talking about right now. Yep.
How do you feel so far about the playoffs?
Very competitive. I'm loving it. I'm loving the bubble so far. Strangely enough, the games are super competitive.
Right.
Everything's falling into place with you guys listening to our past episodes of what we've said of predictions. Either we both said it or Daryl said it, whatever. So I think it's going to go all the way to the wire, like I said, with Portland and the Lakers.
Yes.
There's something just scary about Portland. They're clicking. So what happened last time? Dame got hurt. Dislocated his left index finger. So it's not his shooting hand. But he's still ball handle, but he's tough. He'll handle it. He'll be back, though. He'll probably be taped up, whatever. Kobe, rest in peace. Kobe-like. But I think that's going to go really to the wire, like all the way to the end. I think I said this to you, and then I'll let you talk, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
I want Toronto to play somebody. Challenge that team. Don't let them sneak through. I don't want a back-to-back.
Right.
I don't want a back-to-back. I don't. I'm sorry. There are people out there listening that are fans, and so be it. But there's a fan of every team we're gonna mention in this.
My brother would have some words with you. I disagree. I think Toronto is the best team in the East, and I think they will.
Are they the best team in the NBA?
They could be.
But are they the best? Anybody could be. It's the playoffs. Anybody could come in. AC could win the whole thing. Now, don't beat around the bush. Who's the best team in the NBA?
Who's the best team right now?
Yeah, we can say right now because the bubble has changed some teams.
Yeah, I think that's very difficult to say. I think the Clippers probably should be the best team. But
how they look to you?
First of all, Paul George didn't play well at all the last game when Dallas beat them. First of all, LA and Milwaukee has played terrible this entire bubble.
Yeah,
they have played terrible. Portland, Portland lost, right? But you just said it. Dame got hurt, right? Yes. Correct. Carmelo had 2 points. Nurkic had 9 points. CJ McCollum had 13 points. And this Lakers win, LeBron had 10 points. Like, why
is LeBron playing so bad?
That's what I'm saying.
He's not consistently good.
This whole bubble, the Lakers shooting has been terrible. They have been terrible. And Milwaukee has not played well. The only reason Milwaukee is in the situation they are is because of 2 reasons. They're the number 1 defense in the league, and they have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah. Those are the only 2 reasons that we're even talked about. For them to even lose to Orlando, and what I thought was interesting, I forgot what Orlando player said this, but Giannis dunks on them. Yes. But usually when Giannis dunks, the crowd goes crazy. Well, there's no crowd. So it's no deflatedness.
Yeah, like the hype factor, which for the other team, it deflates them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no intimidation. So they're like, come on, we'll just go to the next play. We'll go so that stuff is there, and it's going to hurt. And that's why I think Toronto is the best team in the East. I think the Clippers should be the best team in the West. But this bubble has been very weird with teams
that are supposed to be big time.
Yeah, the only team that did what I thought they were going to do was the Brooklyn Nets, because they are the Washington Wizards of the playoffs.
Of the playoffs.
Yep, they're going to play. Hey, man, we're going to play these 4 games, and we're going to get out of here.
Thanks for the hotel accommodations. We out. Yep. I finally got a vacation.
This is why the Hawks need to listen. First of all, the Toronto Raptors don't have a lottery draft pick on their roster.
Yeah.
And then they're one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So if Milwaukee is the top defensive team, and these are in Milwaukee, if you look at them, they're like Chris Middleton I think he had like 4 points the other game. He's not even playing great. Giannis had to have 28 points and 20 rebounds.
That's crazy.
And even at the end, when they were up by 11, Orlando was coming back.
Yep.
At the end. So it was like nobody's playing great. Nobody the one series I think we got wrong is Houston and Oklahoma City.
What did we say with that?
We both said Oklahoma City was going to win. Because Chris Paul's going to take. Well, I said Oklahoma City because Chris Paul.
I thought we just said they were going to win game 1.
Oh, I thought they were going to win the series.
Guys, let us know what we said back last. I don't recall. I don't even really remember going in with that series. I felt like it could have been up in the air, but it's 2-0 right now at the time of recording.
And they lost the first game because they tried to out Houston. And Houston at 1 point shot 49% from 3-pointers. You're not going to. But game two, they were terrible from 3.
Yeah.
But yet, Oklahoma City could not keep, even without Russell Westbrook, they could not keep that lead. I think Oklahoma City is probably the most disappointing, because I wouldn't even think the Lakers are disappointing, because the Lakers are doing exactly what they did this entire bubble.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's doing what they did this entire bubble.
Yeah.
I didn't think any of us thought Philly had a chance against Boston, especially without Ben Simmons.
When Ben, we did mention that when Ben got hurt, it was over.
Yeah, it was over with. So,
but you don't think Boston can make a run again to be that top team in the East?
Absolutely. But I also think that their core is so young with Jaylen Brown.
They're young, but even from their rookie seasons, they were like vets the way they played.
Because they played in Boston, and Boston was always competitive. So
correct. You had to grow up quick.
I think so let me say this. I think Toronto is the best team in the East. I think Boston should be the best team in the East.
over Milwaukee.
Yep.
Hmm.
I think talent-wise,
I agree.
overall roster, just talent, Boston is the most talented team in the East.
They should have been number one all season.
Right. But and I said the same thing. The Clippers, roster-wise, is the most talented team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
But are they the most talented team? Are they playing the most talented?
I don't know what they need to do. I don't know what a Doc Rivers team needs to do under his leadership.
Just, I guess, to qualify. Why?
Pretty much.
Their team is stacked.
They always are stacked. All the Clippers teams.
Yeah.
Since the Blake Griffins.
Paul George, Marcus Morris, Jackson. They have Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams. Like, they are stacked.
But sometimes overstacked can. But I think this is a better team that can get it together. I think they'll be fine. I think all their games will be scrappy to the end, but I think they'll pull off their victories that are needed.
I think they pulled a bad card because Dallas is a tough matchup.
I've mentioned that too. Dallas isn't going to be. Luka is something special. Luka, she was a Hawk. Man, like, come on, man. I don't know.
Is special.
Yeah,
like Dame Lillard is special. Like,
yeah, they just play their games, and at the end of the game, it's like, bro, how do you have 35 to 40 per game? And but not just like doing it, but you're also doing game-winning shots and or game-winning plays that make your team win. Like, you guys are doing that. That's amazing. Those guys are special.
Like, he's making triple doubles, so he's doing other stuff than just scoring. I mean, this playoff has been other than the Toronto and Brooklyn.
Yeah,
it's been extremely competitive. Even I was just looking at Utah and Denver. I had Denver.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
losing right now. I think they're losing right now. Last time I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just had it and passed it. So it's 73 to 50. Yeah. It's like Utah's winning. Like, this is a shocker.
It's a good playoff to me. It's very competitive. We'll see how the outcome unfolds at the end.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we forgot about Miami. So, like,
oh yes, let's talk about that. Scrappy game.
Uh-huh.
Two scrappy teams, or scrappy matchup rather.
Right.
Bro. The best team in the East, man, are those boys.
You say Miami.
Just because of the bubble. Like, their desire to win, their skills, and their scrappiness. That they're not the best team, but they're my favorite, if that makes any sense.
Right. Uh-huh.
Because there can always be on paper. There can always be the Clippers that on paper, like all the people you just named, they're a better team. But doesn't mean they're going to always. The best team doesn't always win the championship. Meaning, the roster wise, the best team, the best team in the series obviously wins. But again, don't sleep on the Heat. And I know you're not, but you out there listening and watching, don't sleep on the Heat.
Yeah, it's like they all surrounded Jimmy Butler's personality. It's like they all took on his personality and their play.
That scrappy, like I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play defense, lockdown, all that stuff. But we're gonna score some points too. I don't know.
Yeah, because you got Bam, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. I wish Kendrick Nunn is not playing as well as he did beginning of the season, but Gordon Dragic, like the Heat in Milwaukee will face in the next round, and Milwaukee better not sleep on them.
Upset alert.
Oh, you got an upset.
I've been calling upsets. Somebody needs to. I'm somewhat on the verge of 2 right now with Portland, LA, Lakers,
right,
and Dallas. That one.
So who is more in trouble then? Do you think the Lakers, Clippers, or Bucks? Like, who would you say are more worried?
The Clippers.
Oh, you said the Clippers.
The Clippers should be. They're the most. Dallas has the most sound of the teams.
Uh-huh.
I just feel like I have to just see this next game. With Portland. If Dame is okay,
Okay.
then I'll move that back up there.
All
But
right,
before then,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
because again, you don't know what it's like to be hurt or injured, how that can affect you until you get hurt or injured.
Mhm.
And you got to play with the injury. Like, you don't know how much, like, you might rely on your left hand when you play,
Right.
because you're used to just switching over, driving to the left, and you don't think of it because like you're a skilled player. But
Right.
if you switch over, drive to the left, and that you feel that pain, you're gonna start thinking, and then you're gonna pass the ball maybe more.
Right. You made a great point, because at first, like, that's a very good point, because the Lakers should be the most worried, because first of all, they can't shoot. They cannot shoot the ball, and they're not shooting well. LeBron's not shooting the ball well.
Bro, what is he on? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're not consistent. Even role players, they just played J.R. Smith a little bit. I think he had 10 points. It was just like, they're not consistent.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers should be worried, but you make a sound point that it depends on Damian's injury.
Because he's clearly the leader of the pack.
Right. Yeah. And if he's gone, if he can't play,
they're done. If he can play and he's not 100%,
yeah, they're done.
But if that injury really affects his game,
they're done.
Lakers will skate by.
But the Clippers have to take Luka, Porzingis. Still got Tim Hardaway Jr. Like,
I finally looked at that roster when I watched them play. I'm like, that team
is good.
They're good. They're not even the best, but they will literally go to the end of the game with you and lose in 7. But it'll wear you out, or they'll win in 7.
Right.
Like, that team's scary because you don't know what they can do. But what you do know is Luka is scary.
Luka's special.
Yeah.
Milwaukee, I don't think Milwaukee has much to worry about. They have to worry about the next round. They'll beat Orlando, but I mean, they didn't play that well either. Like,
no.
So when they go up against, we're assuming Miami, who's up 2-0, they might have a problem with Miami. So I would say Bucks need to worry about next round.
Yeah. But as far as this round, I think they're fine. I felt like being in Orlando, that Orlando was going to get their one victory. They're not a bad team. They're not a good team, but they got their one victory. Then it's going to be a, 4-1 series. If this thing goes back to 2-1 Orlando's way right now, I don't know what y'all boys are doing over there in Milwaukee. Because not just that you're hurting yourself. If you do win, you're hurting yourself for the second round.
Yep.
Like you're mentioning, if you do match up against Miami, you want to rest a little bit and do some studying.
Right.
If you're going to keep playing all the way through to a 6 or 7 game, then that's on you.
Because let me tell you, the second round, potentially second round could be, let's just say Lakers against Houston. Then you got, I'm going to say Utah because they're winning now. Utah against the Clippers. Then you got Milwaukee against Miami and Boston against Toronto. Like the next round.
Yeah. All around.
No joke, man.
Good. It's been a very good playoffs.
Yeah, it's
so far.
And we came in here, I was very skeptical about how this would look. And they actually did. The NBA has done a fabulous job. And I think they're going to talk about a bubble format even for the regular season next year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that's going to do. I don't know how that's like.
You're going to have to kind of like have it like, man, like a neighbor. You're pretty much going to have a neighborhood, right?
Right.
Maybe if you stay in Orlando, it might have to be. How do I put this?
Like Olympic Stadium, like when the Olympics where they had the little.
But like a whole gated community of houses built. If so, you need to start building them now, or find somewhere that has that. But when I say houses, a gated community, the bubbles within that, but you bring your family. That's
right.
And it's a community. It's kind of like the Walking Dead.
Right.
Like how it's
that's exactly what I was thinking about, though.
That's what it has to be. You all have your own houses because you're going to need your family.
But they also they approved that teams who weren't in the bubble, they can start their training camp early.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, it's I guess it's great for the Hawks
Cool.
who need, but they still missed out on the experience.
All right. So cool.
And you're like,
Because
whatever.
they've been allowed to kind of practice. Like
Yeah,
facilities were allowed to open, but like,
Right.
what are you getting done?
Right.
Hopefully something. I don't know.
Well, speaking of bubbles, let's move over to football.
Oh my goodness.
I thought this was interesting, and I wanted to get your take on it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
There was an article saying that football is thinking about moving to a bubble format once the playoffs start.
Yes, I needed you to finish that once the playoffs start.
Yes. So what do you feel about that?
They're not going to make it to the bubble. The bubble will pop before they get to it.
Right.
Meaning, the way they're already acting, people before the preseason OTAs, all that, whatever started, they were getting COVID. People are still getting it during the preseason right now. Well, it's not preseason games, but like training camp.
Right.
Watching Hard Knocks. We've had 2 people on don't remember the team. I don't know if it was 1-1 or if it was just 2 on the Chargers.
Did they shut it
the
down?
Rams. The Rams.
Did they shut it down?
No. They did the test like they do, like the NBA. They caught it and they sent the person home. But the thing that's crazy is it's like, why didn't you shut it down? Because the second person was playing in practice and all the stuff. But they didn't shut it down. They just, oh man, we didn't know that he had it. He was just practicing the other day. Okay, but now what about everybody else?
Right.
So one thing, not to spoil it, they came up with this this thing that they now have a watch.
Yep, because the NBA has that.
Yes. So they now have the watch thing where it's green if you're good, it beeps red and has a noise if you're too close to somebody else. But the thing is, in practice, they were encouraging them, telling them to wear it during practice too. You can't practice 6 feet apart.
Because that thing gonna be going off like you're in a huddle. It's just gonna
a huddle, a DB versus a receiver. You play up to the person. What are we doing here? The line, O line, D line, the running back to the. What are we doing? It's almost like they might not want to play the season if you don't have a bubble, but it's too late for that. But yeah, in regards to your bubble thing, I don't think you're gonna get there.
I actually 100% agree with you. When I saw the article, I was like, are we even going to get to the playoffs? Like, because baseball, 2 more games got postponed. The Angels and not Angels, sorry. The Yankees.
The series.
Yep, they got postponed because 2 Mets players got caught. And baseball is showing you that without a bubble, this thing doesn't work. And you also, if you want any more evidence, how about the Seahawks just cut a player for sneaking a girl into the, like, you can't even have the players police themselves.
Yeah.
This, like, when I saw it, I was just like, why wasn't a bubble? NBA is showing you the only way this is going to work during COVID. Until there's a vaccine, it has to be a bubble.
Yeah.
It has to be. And so I'm like, we're not, the way this is going, because can you imagine somebody from the Falcons get it? All right, we're going to postpone their games for 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks. In a football season, that's 16 games.
Nah.
Like, how can you do that? So I'm with you. When I saw it, I thought it was a little funny. Because I was like, are we even going to get there?
I don't. That's cool, y'all are thinking that, but what's the point? Why then?
Yeah. Why? So we're only
a smaller amount of people.
We're only protecting the top teams.
Pretty much. It's like you mentioned, I believe that you guys are already have the ability to be in the bubble format right now with training camp because you're all together, the whole team, the whole staff. Lock it down. Stop letting them go out and do what they want on their off days.
Right.
And then a lot of them will practice and train at a school or whatever in the dorms or a hotel. Lock that down and keep it there.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then you need to tell them, like, Odell, you want this big paycheck. I think Myles Garrett just got paid. Travis Kelce just got paid. Pat Mahomes just got paid. You want this big paycheck?
Yeah.
You want this big paycheck? You're gonna have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to not be with your family if we're going to have a season and you guys are going to get your paychecks.
Yeah.
So, like I've always said, during training camp, they stay in like a dorm atmosphere.
Yes.
Just have that for the entire season.
They don't want to be in no dorm though.
Why?
It's not as nice as the hotel. So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But if they can swing, bro, if you can manage to lock down the local hotel right near the practice facility, the NBA has done it. You know, they bus those guys from the hotels to the stadium. They're not at the stadium. Like,
but the only logistics thing that would be bad because they're not all in one area.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's going to take a lot of coordination, but if you want
it's
this
possible
to happen,
yeah,
this is what has to happen. Baseball has shown that this does not work.
Yes. It's too widespread. It's too all over the place. They literally weren't about to have a season for baseball. Speaking of baseball, they weren't going to have a season. And then just the whole disconnect between the league and the players.
Over money.
And then you guys don't want to listen because what they offered a bubble format.
Right. And the players turned it down.
I want people to know the WNBA, MLS, MLB, and NFL. Could all you guys don't know this. If you do, that's awesome. But there was room in Florida. There's room in Florida for all that to happen at the Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports. There's enough hotels for all of them. There's also enough massive professional size stadiums or fields and courts for all of them. They can host the Olympics there. Like, it's that big. They have all those fields. So they all should have just been like, man, the NBA is doing something right. Let's all move down to Florida and lock down on Disney's campus.
Right.
I don't know, man.
And then baseball, basically, it was funny because they asked baseball, like, are they thinking about, suspending their season because of the COVID? And they basically said no because this is basically the players' fault. It's basically what they said. This is the players are not following the rules.
If we're trying to get to October, Daryl, they ain't getting into no October.
And that's what the funny thing. The Padres just had a game where they hit their 4th grand slam in a row.
Yes, I saw that.
I am not talking about baseball. I'm not talking about the Braves or how they're doing because I don't want to get invested because I don't think this is even going to last. Like, I feel like the moment I get invested, we're going to cancel the season.
I agree. That reminds me of like Allen Iverson made his return back to the Sixers. So I got tickets.
Right.
Then he retires again the day before. He was supposed to come here to play the Hawks.
Right.
And he retires again. And I'm like, nope. I was invested.
Never again.
Nope.
So speaking of weird things that were happening in the bubble. Well, I'm not bubble, but COVID.
Yes.
I thought this article.
There are a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, I thought this article was very interesting. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
The parents of the Big Ten are protesting in front of the Big Ten's headquarters because they want a season.
Yep.
What do you feel about that?
Bro, pimping out your kids. No, I get it in some regards, all out seriousness. I think I get it and I don't. I can see their perspective, but doesn't mean I agree. How about that?
So how about this? Let me real quick before you finish your point. We have a son. Yes. I have one on the way.
Yes.
They're both football players at, let's just say, Ohio State.
Okay.
Same COVID is happening. Are you protesting?
I would propose. If I protest, I would propose and say everything's happening like now, like
Right.
say 2020, they're older.
Right. Yes.
Okay. I would there has to be somebody smart in the Big Ten. There has to be some smart parent that has the ability to come up that knows law or something or whatever, that knows how to write up a draft of how it should unfold.
Right.
Like how we're talking about the NBA bubble. The NBA bubble was a bunch of smart people coming up with in the boardroom of what they should do.
Also players.
And players.
Coming together.
Yes, coming together. Yes, you're right. Coming together to make this work. At least run that over. At least go through that. Do not
so have a solution. Don't just
have a
take
solution. I'm not just gonna protest with no solution. It's the same thing with protesting for racial equality.
Right.
Like I get it, but we still need a solution. What are we trying to gain from it? Yes, we want the justice, but how are we going to get it?
Right.
What's the next step? Marching can do stuff, yeah, but we're not talking about that. But solutions base is always good to me in my mind.
Right. If my son was playing, would I be protesting? The answer is no. First of all, I would have. First of all, does the players want to play? That's the first and foremost.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of players that want to play. And what do you do back in the day when you get your when you're a kid? And the coach doesn't listen. Mom, can you go talk to the coach?
You think because that's my thing. Are the parents doing this on
because
their
the kids
own,
want it? Yes.
Or are they doing it because the kids want it? Like, so that's my thing. So if they're doing it for the kids want it, fine, whatever. But if you're doing this on your own just because you want to, in this retrospect, pimp out your kid, then I have an issue with that. First of all, are the players there? And that's why I'm saying the NBA worked because the NBA worked with the players. Did the Big Ten work with the players, or the Big Ten just ruled and said this is what we're doing? You always have to.
The Big Ten ruled and just said this is what we're doing.
You always have to have players. This shows that the players need their own representation because the players need to say, okay, if we're not going to play, even though I'm Justin Fields and I want to play, then I need to be able to transfer.
I think he's leading that pack, to be honest.
Right.
Because you remember, he's already trying to petition.
Right. Especially when you're Justin Fields and you got Trevor Lawrence is going to play. Jamie Newman's going to play. All these people who are.
I need reps. I need to play. Real quick, mentioning all this stuff that we're talking about. The NCAA just, I don't know if you saw that or anybody out there, but I'll mention it. The NCAA just mentioned that they are going to extend fall eligibility. So, with that being said, the teams that do get to play, say the SEC, it's pretty much an extra year. So what this means and what they're saying is this. Even if you play next season in the fall for football, you still get to come back and you get an additional extra year of eligibility the following year. So it's not like, Justin Fields doesn't get to play, but I'm over here at Georgia and I do get to play. I just lost that eligibility. No, you get to play this year. And so if you're a senior, this is your senior year, you get an extra year.
So let me ask you though, if I'm Justin
I like that
Fields,
really quick. I like that because if I'm like, my season didn't go as well, I didn't get as many catches as I wanted, I got to do it over next year.
Got to do it over. But if I'm a Justin Fields, do I still get to leave?
If he doesn't get to leave, that means now somebody gets 2 chances over him. Right. But I do think he should be able to, if he doesn't get to play this year, he should be able to go for the draft.
Yes, he should, but he should definitely be able to transfer.
He should be able to transfer or if they don't get to transfer or the season still continues to not happen and they don't get to play, it's still canceled. I think he should be able to go to the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is not my fault. What's going on in the world? That's not my fault that you canceled my season, and that is not my fault that the other people get to play and you get to extend their eligibility an extra season, so they get to get their stats up while I still don't get to. So you get 1 year up over me. I have to come back. So let's say, too, if he doesn't get to go pro next year, qualify for the draft, that means you got to get your stats up, and then NCAA is letting them play again next year. So that means you got 1 year up on me, and I'm still playing 2 years back.
Right. Yeah, that's not fair.
But we already know Trevor Lawrence is. But I get his drift. Trevor Lawrence is obviously going to go top, but I could beat him, or I could go number 2 if I'm Justin Fields.
But that's more my issue, is that I could lose my number 2.
I could
lose, like, I'm already fighting to try to be number 1. I could lose my spot now.
I'm guaranteed number 2, but I'm also fighting for number 1. I can lose my second spot. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they should be willing to transfer. But I just thought it was interesting that the parents are picking it, because that just shows that you made this decision by yourself.
They did.
And if you sat down in a room, had a player,
they still look at them as kids.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But they don't look at them as kids when they're making money off of them.
No, not at all.
But you made this decision unilaterally, and you should have had a representation for the coaches, representation for the players, and y'all all made this decision together.
Correct.
And you would not have parents out there picking it. NCAA is trash, and hopefully for this.
Oh, we know that.
Yes, but hopefully for this moment, they look at it and they change their structure. Players need representation.
You know they're hard-headed and they don't like to listen, so we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Watch it click in the middle of the season, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we're going to listen, and it's too late.
It's too late at that point, because so many players. If they had another option, because they're going to have this problem in basketball. Mm-hmm. Once the G League or overseas, they see more players like LaMelo Ball, RJ Hampton go overseas.
Oh, that's what I was just about to say.
They're going. So
can they go to the CFL? Is CFL even happening this year?
Probably. I don't think so. I thought they canceled. I thought they canceled it.
I didn't hear anything about it.
But I'm just saying, for future, if football has another option, they're going to start looking at if college football does not clean up. Do not clean this up, man. They have to have player representation. Has to have player.
Yeah, they should bring back the XFL, the Rocks League. Yeah, and let them play, man. Let them play. So next thing with football news, Dez Bryant worked out for the Ravens. I think that's a good thing. I think Dez is just flying under the radar. People aren't paying attention, but good teams such as Baltimore are paying attention. If they could find out a way to get him, or even your boy Antonio, they're still going to be scarier on scary.
Yeah, I think Dez is a great pickup. First of all, you won't get the distraction of Antonio Brown with Dez Bryant.
Correct.
Dez Bryant, he still could play when the Cowboys cut him. He still could play. I don't know why they didn't pick him up. No, didn't he? They got signed and got hurt.
He tore his ACL.
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
The first day or second day of practice. Yeah,
they're not going to ask a lot for him. Like, if you were a receiver,
they don't need to on that team.
They're not going to ask a lot for him. I think they need that veteran wide receiver, because I thought the reason they lost the playoff game is because their wide receiver position was poor.
Yeah.
They couldn't throw the ball when they had to. Wasn't all Lamar's fault. The receivers dropped a lot of passes as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a benefit, and they need a big body who's experienced that can catch in the middle.
And that can play, which is him. Go ahead and lock down that signing.
Yeah, and then he won't cost a lot.
No.
He won't cost.
At least not right now. So go ahead and lock that down.
You don't have to worry about an 8-game suspension.
No, that's facts too.
You can play right away. I think Dez Bryant, for me, would be a better pick than Antonio Brown at this point.
I can see that. You can't go wrong with either, to be honest, in regards to skill.
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 8-game suspension.
Yeah. But either or, somebody can lock that down. Because again, the 8-game suspension starts when he gets on the team.
Right.
Your best bet is to get him before this, now. You want that. You want at least by week 1, so it starts whenever week 1, week 2, whatever. You want it super early so it can start, so you can run that up. Do not try and get him. You don't know anything if you try and get him later, because he'll just be there for playoffs.
Right. And then if you wait till your wide receiver core gets injured, it's too late. He still has to wait those 8 games.
Yeah.
You might
do it now. Just sign him. Just sign him, and
he won't cost a lot of money.
No, he'll take what he can get. Yeah. But I think somebody should get him, and he'll be a good pick as long as we can keep that the distractions to a bare minimum.
Right.
So yeah. But yeah, one more thing I want to mention. Did you see Georgia State's quarterback?
Yes.
Crazy. So he's not going to play the 2020 football season. Georgia State University's starting quarterback, isn't going to play because of heart conditions due to COVID. Yeah, heart. Yeah, that's crazy being that young.
But that's what but this is the risk of playing. This is why we're saying we need bubble formats. We need, because it's not only that COVID is going to ruin your season. You don't know what the long-term effects of COVID is. The best way to not get those longer-term effects is to never get it. And we are taking a risk here. We are. I think the death rate was 0.04% or something like that. That's still a lot of people. We're over 170,000 Americans have passed from this.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Very seriously, man.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah. I think all of this was a risk of playing sports again. I think a risk that led to a success, a reward, was the NBA. But seeing that, look, we're not going to get too deep into this, but there's not a lot of leadership going on out here in this world right now.
No.
So if somebody is actually trying to initiate a plan, because there's not a lot of plan making out here in these streets either. Let's just call it what it is. Leadership and all, whatever. Let's call it what it is. But somebody actually works together with the people. Let's call the NBA players the people. Let's call the government the NBA higher-ups. See what happens when you work together, boys and girls? You can get stuff done.
Right.
So you have to, just being real, you have to work together, and somebody actually put together a group plan that worked out, and it's the NBA bubble. Yeah, I think that has to be the blueprint from the rest of this virus. That has to, and then build on it. That has to be the foundational blueprint to the rest of any sport. Not even just sports, other things. This can go into other things, group things that you do. It has to go the NBA way. So shout out to the NBA for being innovative and getting it down first try.
Yep. They didn't play.
Man,
that sucks. That sucks.
Strictly business, man. I don't know. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that about the Georgia State boy not playing, because that's a big thing. That's your starting quarterback not playing. So that's your team. So yeah, it's crazy. We'll see though if a season even happens. It's happening. They readjusted the schedule, and for the conferences that are going to play, the teams, and we'll see if they're going to finish, because they're going to be allowing fans at the games, and I do not know what that's going to be like, because man, I've been to the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville. There's no social distancing in that.
No, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy, but
yep. So we'll see. I'll enjoy the first 3 games. I think that's probably the most promised.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know. Yep. But anything else you want to add?
Nah, that's it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let us know what you guys think within our topics that we talked about today. And also hit us up on our social medias that you guys can see. Trying to point all this way and up there. Also, be in the link in the description down below for here on YouTube and on SoundCloud and vice versa as well. And we'll catch you next week with a mock draft, at least the top 10. So it's going to be really fun, really good. Daryl's super hyped. I know that. So yes. And also, yes, guys, stick with us on our Instagram. It's growing. It's we ask a lot of questions with a great lineup of articles. So at Third String Podcast on Instagram, all that good stuff. So yes, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you guys next week with another jam-packed episode 47. So get to thinking on who it should be about.
I will look that up.
All right, cool. All right, y'all. So we'll catch you guys next week. Take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.